Autophiles, Subash here. I got a bit of a cold, so forgive the voice. This is the latest Subaru Forester facelift. It was quietly launched a couple of months ago. There's nothing substantially different, so I'm not going to do a review. We already did a review of the pre-facelift, Bo and I. That's somewhere here. What I'm going to give you is the likes and dislikes of this facelift. But first, let me give you an idea of what has changed. It's mostly a cosmetic thing. The most obvious change is the face. You get a new bumper, new headlights especially. So in the previous one you had a more rectangular look. This time the daytime running light goes in like that, and then this solid plastic here. Front grille a little bit different as well. This is the GT edition, so you get the GT body kit, which is also a little bit different. So all that silver cladding, the rims, these are all specific to this model, and they've been remolded a little bit for the facelift. Round back the bumper is a bit different as well. Spoiler, I can't tell if it's different, but well, you've got the GT edition, so you got this layer cake sandwich going on. That's about it. Inside looks exactly the same to my eye. Just maybe the stitch pattern is new on the GT. And of course you've got upgrades to the eyesight system. Now eyesight is standard on all the Forester models. Now let me get inside and give you my likes and dislikes. Now that I'm behind the wheel, I can tell you what's my first like, and that is the drive quality is just so satisfying. Now when I say satisfying, I mean of course there's the thuddiness of the doors and the switches are nice and chunky. But also what I really mean is the drive quality, the comfort is excellent. This is the kind of SUV where you can just fly over speed bumps. A lot of premium SUVs can't even do this. There's also like quality of life things you don't get in other cars, like the visibility. Look at how big this window is. It's not just like wide, it's also tall and goes down below my shoulder level. My condo probably has the worst car park in the world. It's just super narrow. It's built in the 80s. Normally in C segment cars I struggle to get the car up, but this one, even with all the cameras off, I could actually tell where the corners were. Just so much visibility, really good. Even this little glass here that cuts out behind the wing mirror is just something that helps with visibility and driving so much. And then the steering being super light, the CVT being very responsive. It's just such a nice, delightful car to drive. Every time I drive a Subaru like the XV and this car, I'm just blown away by how nice things can be, even in a non-premium segment. But I gotta talk about a dislike. My first dislike is gonna be something with the facelift. And my dislike is the looks. I just can't understand the proportions of this car, especially the front, those headlights. It's such a tall but boxy, but not so wide look. So I really don't understand what they're going for. There's a bit of sportiness going on at the back. That doesn't look very 2023 at all. It looks very early 2000s in some places. Then there's this GT body kit which is not really doing it any favors. I don't know, part of it is just lines going everywhere, no real sense of direction. I think Subaru is just trying to play so many image games at the same time that just looks very convoluted. So on the one hand you got that soccer mom SUV vibe going on, so it looks family friendly, looks utilitarian, it doesn't look imposing. But then it remembers, oh, Subaru has a sporty heritage, so it does this whole GT body kit thing, and then it gives you like a double spoiler thing to go extra aggressive, and then it's got these claws, and then it's got this chrome tip exhaust, just one, so a bit empty looking. The rims look a bit sporty, then you got all these like lines going on here, and then it remembers, oh, I'm a Subaru, so I have to be a bit off-roady as well. So you got some body cladding here with dimples. Then you got your roof rails, and you got your chunky door handles. Then you go inside and, oh wait, I am also an expensive product, so I must have quilted stitching. I know some of you are going to say, oh, Subarus are an acquired taste. I don't buy that, because the new XV is a beautiful looking car. The Outback is good looking, the WRX is good looking, the BRZ is good looking. This one, the Forester, which is like their bread and butter product, is just, to me, a bit weird looking. Not ugly, just all over the place. I mean, the XV does it so beautifully. I don't know why the Forester is like this. Anyway, not a big deal. If you like it, you like it. Now, let's go inside and talk about something I liked. The second thing that I liked is that its quirkiness is actually functional. A lot of quirky cars are just quirky for the sake of being quirky. Like you got that BYD Atto with the strings on the side, and then you got a lot of Citrons that try to do things their own way, and Subarus are quirky, and especially this Subaru is quirky in a very functional way. But let me give you some examples of Subaru quirkiness. So like, I think we mentioned this before, but there are just so many physical buttons, and a lot of these are redundancies. Of course, you've got volume and stuff like that here and also here. And then you've got like triple screens, and each of these screens do different things. Yeah, there's buttons for the screens here, and then there's another info button down here for this drive mode buttons. There's so many physical buttons. Even down here there's another cluster, more buttons down here. Up here there's also buttons. These are buttons that control your eyesight functions. And down here as well you've got your X mode buttons, and then of course aircons also got their own buttons. Yeah, it's a bit of a cluttered button fest here, but buttons work. Physical buttons work. They always work, and they work in every condition. Once you're used to driving the car, you just know where everything is, so it kind of makes a lot more sense. Other quirky stuff like putting the signal stalk on the left in a Japanese car, going overkill on the ruggedness with X mode and all that. It kind of adds a bit of ethereal value to your drive. Then you got like mud guards that kind of protect this part here, pocket here for this thing to slide into. I don't know what it's for, but it probably makes the door sound really nice. Other quirky things, just get one hook in the boot. I recently drove a car that only had one hook and it was double this price. This one has 4 hooks, but these are just the 4 that are down here. Up here there's another 2 more hooks which can carry 3 kilograms each. And I can tell you, hooks are very useful. I literally took this car to the market and it stopped all my groceries from rolling around. And then they took the passenger light and moved it all the way back here, so the passengers can still reach this light from back there, and it can still serve as a kind of reading light, but it also doubles as a boot light because it's actually right above the boot. Then you got these really powerful seat flattening buttons. Tonneau cover has a little extra flap. If you want extra added privacy, you can actually mount it up here instead of down there. Now, these quirks mean that engineers were paying special attention to certain things, but that leads me to my second dislike, and that is that the attention to detail is not uniform. Now, let me explain what I mean with a few examples. So I mentioned before that there's 3 screens up here. This is a Subaru thing for the last 5-6 years, but this screen in particular and is just a bit weird looking. I don't know if it shows up on camera, but the lighting is a bit different. The fonts are a little bit different from what's on the others. This one looks like an aftermarket add-on compared to those 2 screens. So these displays show so much information, a lot of it is unnecessary. And then you go down here to this main biggest display and you try to go into reverse, and oh my god, look at the resolution. You can't see anything. Like, why bother with all this fancy 3D stuff if it's done so poorly? What do you guys think? Would you rather have a system like this with a 3D 360 camera, or would you just have one very nice high resolution reverse camera? Let me know in the comments. There's other inconsistencies as well, like the seat upholstery in here. The stitching and all that, very good quality. The seats look so high quality, but then when you really scrutinize, you start to see a bit of weird sagging and a bit of a weird mix of materials. Some materials suddenly feel like, wow, that's real leather, and then suddenly you go here and this is the cheapest pasar malam leather you can find. And then you come here and you see like the creases in the leather. I don't know what to make of it. It's just a weird mix of materials for the seats. Same thing with the dashboard. You got so much attention to detail paid to some materials. Suddenly you come here and there's this weird chrome strip that just is out of nowhere. The third thing I liked is the value proposition of this car. A lot of people complain about the pricing of the Forester, but the moment I drive it, I immediately think this is a car that drives like it's worth 200,000 at least. And then you look at the actual equipment list and really there's nothing missing. It's got, wired Apple CarPlay, it's got full ADAS, it's got an engine that sounds good and performs okay, all-wheel drive, paddle shifters, 360 camera. I mean, a bit rubbish, but 360 camera is there at least. If you want to complain about something that's missing here, it's like really nitpicking. You really can't buy a premium SUV at this price. Even the Toyota Harrier is substantially more expensive than this. Of course, you got a lot of options from China, from Japan, from Malaysia, around the 150k mark. But I honestly think the things that Subaru do differently from everyone else, and just the pleasantness of this drive, elevates it to feel like a 200k SUV. Because I honestly enjoy driving this car that much. It's just got so much to love about it. But that also leads me to my last dislike. And my last dislike is actually, the price. It's not that I think it's overpriced, but I think at 200k, number one, you have a lot of options. You can top out a bit more and go to a Kia Sorento, which was, I think, my favorite SUV to drive this year. It's like 10% more expensive than this. And then if you really want to save money, you got literally every other mass market manufacturer vying for this market. As good as this car is as a package for 200k, it's so obvious to see why the market share for this car in Malaysia is so small. I think if you can afford this car and you love this car, you take it for a test drive and it ticks all your boxes, by all means go for it. Just understand what you're getting into lah. This is not the market's first choice, but I can understand why this would be your personal, individual first choice. That's my likes and dislikes. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. You get all the buttons and then suddenly you get these weird looking... Whoa, blind spot. It wasn't this.